Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to be doing kind of a quasi-review, also quasi-episode of Grokking Twilight Imperium. Haven't revisited the whole Grokking Twilight Imperium series for some time. But a Etsy seller, the seller store is Panamaniac 3D, there'll be links in the description down below, reached out to me and wanted to send me a copy of their 3D printed custom insert for Twilight Imperium 4th edition that includes parts to be able to hold all of the expansion content as well, and asked, me to review it. So I said sure, so they sent it to me. So this is going to kind of be sort of a Grokking Twilight Imperium, because we're going to talk about how cool it is to have this insert. But we're also going to just fully review the insert itself and all of the things that it does and its statistics and such. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So without any further ado, I'm sure I've showed some pictures up on screen of what this insert looks like from the pictures on their Etsy page. I want to start by talking about the price. So we've got two price options. So the first price option is if you have a 3D printer yourself and you just like the files to print it out. And
or have access to a 3D printer. Because you can... Some libraries have 3D printers.
Ours does. But in this case, he sent me the fully printed out version, and that is an option. There is an option there to get the fully printed insert sent to you, so if you just want the STL file, if you can print it out yourself, you've got your own 3D printer or access to a 3D printer and can buy the filament, it's $5, which is crazy affordable. Granted, you're going to put a lot more money into the printing, but if anything goes wrong, of course, and also you can very much customize the colors if you want to customize the colors of the printed material. Now, in the case of if he prints it out and sends it to you, he charges $104, but free shipping, which is also probably really affordable considering it winds up being very sizable. So he needs a fairly sizable box, which of course shipping is kind of a pain. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So I mean, we've had to ship some stuff long distance, and he's doing that himself, and he's not charging you for the shipping. The material, this is a spare piece he sent me to mess around with these so I can see the durability. The material is this nice, if he prints it out himself. Of course, if you're doing it yourself, you're going to pick what the material is. But it's this nice flexible, let's see if I can show that. It really flexes here. And now, I have managed to, because I've been playing with this before, I've managed to snap this away from the bottom a little bit, but that's after really pulling on it. Generally speaking, this is, and even then, this is still completely usable, even though I snapped that one bit. But generally speaking, the material he uses is quite durable. As you can see here, I'm twisting it, I'm pulling on it. Yeah, what did you think on this stuff?
Yeah, I thought it was it's nice that it's not rigid because
rigid is brittle.
If you drop it or you smack something onto it by accident,
it's very flexy.
Yeah.
And even in this case, because we were messing around with this for a while and we managed to make this one little break here, it's still, even with this one little break, which you can see there on the camera, it completely holds its shape. And if this were a piece for our insert, which it's not, it's a spare piece to test durability, even if it was, this is still usable even with that one little break in it. That's not an issue at all. It's still completely usable. And that's after really pulling on it. As you can see here, I'm really tugging on this thing and it flexes. My thoughts on that is pretty positive. All right, so now here's what we're going to do. First, I want to show you something. So this is our Twilight Imperium 4th edition box here. Oh, God, it weighs a ton. And the reason it weighs a ton, go ahead and pull that over. We have, with this insert, fit everything that was in the Twilight Imperium box and the Twilight Imperium Prophecy of Kings box into the just Twilight Imperium box. It's all in here now, that alone is amazing. I'm gonna recycle this. I don't need the expansion box anymore. So let me open this up here. You'll see what this looks like. Oh, just stick that off to the side, love. All right, so I'm gonna tilt this up so you can see what we're looking at here. We are looking at everything. Everything is in here. So let's unpack this so you can see. So we've got some room here for the rule books. We've got all of all of the books that come with it here. As you can see, not a problem. Then, because there wasn't really a place for them in the insert, we've got the faction cards and the as well as the different color cards. But once those are out, you can see that basically there's a room for just about everything else. One of my few gripes is that the component that puts the tiles in it, there was not room for 2 tiles. So we had to keep 2 of the tiles out. There were also the buzzsaw shaped tiles. There wasn't really a spot for those, and not really a spot for the scoreboard. But other than that, I'm gonna just do it like this. Everything else, as you can see, has a place. And because of this extra room over here, those few things that didn't really quite fit totally still have a place to fit in the box. It's really not a problem. Minor gripe at best. Thoughts on the fitting of all that in?
Well, I thought you said there wasn't really a space for it, but I mean, the empty space right here, I think, is the space for it.
I meant a space in the inserts.
Oh, well,
because like in the trays, you know.
I mean, the rulebooks don't need a tray.
No. The one thing, though, I would have liked is if there was a space for these few components that don't. Yeah. But it's not, like I said, it's not a big deal.
It's not.
It's not a big deal. There's room. Now, I'm going to start pulling these out because we want to go over how cool this is. But before I do want to show you, again, how amazingly Tetris this is all in here. Now, on the Etsy page, they have like 4 or 5 different ways.
It's 3.
Is it 3? I thought it was more.
It's 3.
Okay, but there was like a subway. There was like a 2A and 2B.
Yeah, there was method 1, method 2A, and method 2B.
Okay, all right, my mistake. I'm remembering incorrectly. There's 3 different ways to assemble this. All of them are incredibly Tetris, and it's up to personal preference. We went with method 1 because it was the one that Panamaniac said was their favorite way to assemble the box. It's incredibly well Tetris-sized, and you've got literally, the things are sectioned in a very intelligent and logical way. So I really do like this. We're going to pull these apart to show you exactly how quick this makes it for setup and breakdown, basically. All right, so first thing is the trays. So you got these trays. Now check this out. I pulled this out. This is the green faction tray. Now the green faction tray has separated out all of the components and the green tech deck. So if you're playing green, you pull this out, you put this in front of you, you've got everything organized, ready to go. And that is for all of the different colors over here. We've got blue, we've got red, we've got yellow, we've got, look how quick this is, you're playing a big 6-player game. We've got purple, oh, here you go, purple. No looking for the cards, it's all there. We've got black, and we've even got the expansion colors of magenta and orange. It's that quick to pull these out. This right here is going to speed up setup of the game to an incredible degree. Would you agree? Would you agree?
Yes, I would.
I mean, it's pretty amazing. That's probably one of my favorite parts of this insert. Minor gripe, a little difficult to put it on its side because there's no caps to those trays. But I leave it on its base anyway when I put this one in the shelf because there's just so many components. I wasn't putting it on its side anyway, so that's a very minor thing. Anything you wanted to say about those cool trays and getting all the color components in one place and properly organized?
I like that it's really organized and quick to take out and also put away once you get everything back where they belong.
So the next set of components, trays in here are the ones for the faction-specific components. Now, we showed you that we took out the bag that had all the faction cards on it. So you look through there, you pick your faction, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I want to be, the Emirates of Hakan, or I want to be the Necrovirus, or whatever it is. You've got these great little, now these have little clip-on tops. They're these great little things here. This is what it looks like. You can totally see the cards in the top there to see the faction symbol. You pop that off, and when you pop that off, you've got the cards and all of the faction tokens in one little component. One little thing. And because of how they're like this, it's very easy to dig through these because you can just yank these out a few at a time. You can just be like, okay, no, that's not me. No, that's not me. No, none of these are me. I'm going to pull these out. Okay, no, not me, not me. There I am. There's my faction. I'm gonna be playing them. And it's very quick and easy. They stack up very nicely. Very easy to pull these out again to get to your particular faction in the box. And again, room for every faction in both the base set and the expansion. Thoughts?
Again, it makes it very easy.
Now, the next bit is all the card holders, which are meant to be, you shuffle the cards and you put them in the holders and you draw them from here so that they're ready to go. You can reshuffle them and stick them back in the card holders if you want. But just to show you the various card holders that are in here, we're going to yank them out so you can see all of the various card holders. This is the one. This one is the stack of planet cards and associated cards for the planet cards. But the rest of these are obviously meant to be literally drawn from here. So you just pull them out, you put them on the table. I'm just going to yank all of them out here so you can see how easy these are to use. Thoughts on the card holders?
They're fine. I guess it is, it keeps it from, like, having a towering stack of cards.
Yes.
It's easy to
It's very easy to just pull out and put down. Then we have a ton of trays for components. We have this really cool slotted tray for the strategy cards, which just gets them, vertical and placed on the side. We have these double trays for all sorts of tokens, and there's a ton of these. We've got one with the dice in them. Again, great to just have it all organized. Be like, okay, we get 2 of these infantry trays as an example. Here's the infantry. I'm just going to yank them out and put them next to the play area. We have others for the money, others for the fighters. Again, it's just keeping it all well organized and really quick to just sort of pull out and put down on the table. I've even got a tray that I'm using for my replaced components, which I keep. These are components that are replaced by the expansion components, but I just keep them for completeness sake. Here's the ones for the money. Got a couple of those. Again, just really well done. Easily stackable. Easily fits everything in the box. Easily just pull everything out to play. And finally, the final component, the only one where I really have a gripe about, is the component for the tiles for the planetary systems. And the only gripe I have is just that it could not fit 2 of the tiles in it. It was slightly too small, but again, there was room for them, and we just pulled out a couple of the ones with the spaceways from the expansion to make the shortcuts for certain player counts, because those are probably the least used tiles, because you only use them at certain player counts if playing with that optional rule from the expansion. Okay, Lynn, thoughts on all of this?
I feel like it would definitely make setup a lot easier. Breakdown, you would still have to put everything away, but you can get started playing faster.
Yes, and even I know what you're saying about breakdown, but also I feel like it's going to speed up breakdown a bit too, because once you get used to where everything goes in the box, keep in mind that you're like okay, I pulled this all back in my tray, and then okay, I just give you the tray, and you're like, oh yeah, the trays go over here, and that's still faster. I think it's going to greatly increase setup, slightly increase slightly. It's going to greatly speed up setup. Slightly speed up breakdown was what I meant to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the speeding up setup, because you just saw that literally, we've got everything out of the box already. We pulled everything out of the box.
Yeah.
So
everything is just partitioned where it pretty much needs to be.
So at this point, everybody's got their stuff. You just have to set up the galaxy. You've all picked your factions. You've all got your factions. You've all got your color pieces and your color decks. You just have to set up the galaxy. That's really it. That's how fast this makes setup for Twilight Imperium. That's pretty freaking amazing. Of course, minus the dithering about what race am I going to play this time, which of course everyone's going to do. But minus that, if everyone's picked their race, if you're like, I'm playing the Necrovirus, which Lynn always plays the Necrovirus, and I'm like, and I'm playing the clans of Sar, and the other person we're playing with is like, I am playing the Embers of Muat, you're all ready to go. You're good. You're playing a 3-player game. You know what you want. And Lynn's like, okay, Lynn, what color would you like to be?
Blue.
Okay, so we pass you the blue tray. And I'm like, I'm going to be purple. Pass me the purple tray. The other person's like, I want to be red. We pass them the red tray. It's that easy. Yeah, incredibly speeds up setup and to a lesser extent also speeds up breakdown. But I would still say it does. But also, and the other thing that's the huge plus on this is how much it saves you on space.
Yeah.
Because
everything fits in the big box.
Right. So you don't need, which, bring that Prophecy of Kings box over here again. So the Prophecy of Kings box is the size of what a normal big board game would be. I mean, it says something about Twilight Imperium where their expansions are the size of larger board games from other companies. But you can remove this from your shelves. If you start having shelf space at a premium, which we do, we have shelf space at a premium, getting this off the shelf and tossing it in the recycling bin is pretty freaking huge. Plus, I also want to say, so I have some issues now. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that Fantasy Flight Games did do an insert for this edition of Twilight Imperium. It's way better than the old troughs they used to do. That really upset me. But their insert still had issues. Like, I always had trouble getting the cards out. You're digging your finger down there. There's always cards stuck at the bottom. I'd have to call Lynn over with her tiny fingers to be able to get the cards out. I don't have that issue with this. Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh, look, the cards are out.
Yeah.
So much faster, so much easier, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can tell, but I am very, very positive about this. Okay, thoughts on the cost. So first off, I mean, we can agree that the STL files being $5 is amazing.
Because you're doing most of the work yourself,
yes.
And you also have to pay for the filament.
Yes, but that's an amazing price. Like, that's like, if you have your own 3D printer or access to a 3D printer, getting the STL files for $5 is so affordable. What about, though, now for if you want him to print it out for you and he's sending it to you with his really nice flexi filament, whatever type filament he's using that makes it nice and soft, the $104. What do you? Because that is a little pricier. I mean, yeah, that's as much as a full deluxe board game itself. I
feel like you already spent, however, what is like $80 for Twilight Imperium?
Oh no, I think this was more. I think that was like third edition, Lynn. You're outdated on your prices. I want to say the base set was over $100, and then it's like $50 for the expansion. So you're probably $150 in. It's something like that. I have to look at the prices.
I feel like if you've already spent that much to play a game, you want to maximize your time playing it.
Yes.
And this custom insert does that.
It definitely does.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not gonna, like, you won't be able to play like one entire extra game of Twilight Imperium a month or something.
But it definitely speeds it up.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to cut out probably like an hour of setup just pulling all this stuff out of the box.
It really does speed it up quite a bit. I mean, when we set aside a day to play Twilight Imperium, I will do as much of the setup as possible before people even arrive. Because of how, your time is at a premium. You're playing a game that's going to be probably around 6+ hours of gameplay. You want to try to maximize the time playing. I will usually set up most of the game that I can without people and wait for everyone to show up for doing the drafting of the tiles and the setting up of the board. But with this, you don't really have to do that, because that the probably about half an hour of looking, like, okay, what color are you going to be? Oh, let me find your cards. Here's the bag of your components. That's all down to now just like about 30 seconds of, oh, here's the orange tray. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that greatly improves that. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the worth it for the $104?
I think it's worth it.
100%. Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree. It is expensive.
I like things neat though, neat and stackable.
So does this feel like almost like an ASMR niche for you, where it's just an immeasurable amount of joy because of how neat and stackable it makes it?
Yeah, like I will 100% not want to play a game just because it's a hassle to set up.
This really does improve the setup. It really does. Yeah, I am very positive about how durable these components are, how well made and cool they are for 3D components. I love the designs. The designs are great. I love how stackable it is. I love how you can fit everything from both the base and the expansion in here, and I love how much it speeds up setup time. So yeah, I'm loving this. I think this is great. The price is the only place, well, I had two minor gripes. My first minor gripe was, again, that there were a couple tiles that couldn't fit in the tile rack. Minor, because there's still room for them. The other minor gripe I had was the price at $104 is expensive. That said, if you love Twilight Imperium and you want to play it a lot, like Lynn said, it's probably worth it to you. And I mean, that's going to be up to each individual person to decide. Like, you decide if that $104 is worth it to you. But for us, now granted, we got it for free, but if we hadn't, and I had stumbled across this is the sort of thing I would have asked Lynn to get me for the holiday. I'd have been like, hey, I found this really cool thing I want to ask you for as a holiday gift. Like, right? Like, this is the sort of thing I love, because rather than get actual games for the holiday, I love to get, like, upgrades to games or expansions to games, things like that, to games I already know I love. So this would have been definitely, like, something I would have asked you for the holiday, and I would have been very happy to get this for the holiday. Like, if you stumbled across it, if I hadn't heard of it, if you had heard of it and got it for me, I would have been super excited for this. This is really cool. And it wouldn't have bothered me at all that you spent $104 on it. I would have been like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is really quality. And it does. I mean, all the trays do feel, as you can see here, they feel really quality. They're nice and flexy. Room for everything. Did that about cover it?
I think so.
Should we rate this? Should we give it a rating? What do you think? Or is this the sort of thing that's a little hard to rate?
Well, I think just recommend or don't recommend would be good.
Well, in which case, I'm going to say recommend. I'm going to heartily recommend this. It's a little hard. Yeah, it's kind of a little hard to give a number rating to something like this, especially because I haven't checked out any of the other inserts, so I don't have a basis for comparison on this. I don't usually do custom inserts myself, though now I'm thinking I might have to look into them more.
It's like...
It's pretty cool.
Trying to rate it is like trying a food for the first time and trying to give that a number rating when you've never had anything, you've never had it before.
Yeah, because we don't. I was gonna say we don't normally buy the upgraded custom inserts, but this has got me thinking I need to look into them more because this is really awesome. Definitely gonna look into more from Panamaniac 3D. Again, link in the description down below to head over to Panamaniac 3D to their Etsy shop to either get by the STL files for an incredibly affordable price or to buy a physical copy of this insert. Either way, I think we can agree that this is definitely worthwhile. If you are a Twilight Imperium fan, this will very much speed up your setup and breakdown. More on the setup than the breakdown, like we said. But it'll very much speed up your setup and breakdown for playing games of Twilight Imperium, and definitely would be worth it to you. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more videos like this, more kind of, I guess, reviews of third-party upgrades to games, be sure to give it a like. Share it on all forms of social media. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.